Hello, everyone. This is Angela, your natural hair and scalp health coach, talking about porosity. Porosity is simply a measure of how well your hair absorbs and retains water. Simply a measure of how well it absorbs it and retains it. With higher porosity hair, the cuticle, which is the top layer of hair, it stays open, it stays lifted, so moisture can get in, but then moisture can leave very quickly because that cuticle layer is staying open. Now you can make changes to bring the porosity of your hair down to a normal level, but it does take, some effort. It takes making some changes. But first, let's talk about how you can recognize your porosity. First, when you're first wetting your hair, does it easily saturate with water fairly quickly? You've got the water coming on and it's already saturated. Or is it almost repelling it because you've got like droplets of water just coming off your hair? With higher porosity hair, that water's coming right in because your cuticle is open and ready to receive it. Now, also, when you go from soaking wet hair to completely dry hair without using a dryer, but just your natural texture going from soaking wet to dry, does that happen fairly quickly? Like talking in a few hours. So you're going from soaking wet, and then 4 hours later, you've got completely dry hair. That's a definite sign that you have higher porosity hair because of how quickly your hair can dry for the most part, because the water is escaping right out of the individual strand because that cuticle layer is staying lifted. Another way to tell, and this is even a better indication, if all of us had microscopes at home, we could just look at our hair under the microscope. If you do, that's an easy one to do so you can actually see it. But if you don't, so now I am holding a strand of hair and I have fine hair. So it's difficult to see that I'm actually holding something, but I'm holding it between my thumb and my index finger. And what I'm doing is using my other thumb and index finger to just gently slide up my strand. What I'm looking for is bumps. Is my hair completely smooth or am I feeling some bumps along the way? And now you shouldn't just do this in one spot. You want to do it in multiple spots. Now, see here, I'm holding a few strands to make it a bit easier for you to see that I really am holding something. So I'm coming out here to the end just to be able to gently hold, don't need to pull hard. And again, I'm sliding up the strand of hair that I'm holding because I'm looking for smoothness or bumps. And see, those bumps are the microscopic layers of the cuticle that is staying open. And that's why you're feeling bumps because the cuticles would be facing down, just like shingles on a roof. They would be facing down and would be smooth as you're sliding up. But if you're feeling bumps, you got higher porosity. But again, remember, you need to check in multiple areas because you can have lower porosity in one section, but higher somewhere else. And so for me, I tend to, when I had a relaxer, I had higher porosity everywhere. With my natural textured hair, in my front and in my sides, I generally have lower porosity hair. So when I'm starting to shampoo, but I'm putting all the water on, water is going to bead up and just roll right off. So I have to really, really saturate my hair to wet it. Now, in my crown, I tend to have a higher porosity hair. And so when I sample hair from my crown, and again, I'm going to hold a few sections of hair to make it easier for you to see that I am actually doing something here. But with this hair, as I'm sliding up, this is feeling pretty good right now. And I'm thrilled with this because higher porosity has tended to happen right here in my crown, whereas everywhere else in the back, everywhere else, it tends to be lower porosity. So again, when you know that you have higher porosity or even suspect it, here are some of the things that you want to do during your wash day. You still want to do a shampoo. I recommend a hydrating shampoo, especially not a clarifying shampoo. You do still need to remove all of the product residue, any sebum, any dirt, all those types of things. You still need to shampoo your hair to get your hair prepared to receive moisture. And you still want to detangle with a nice moisturizing conditioner. And you still want to have leave-in products. So you want some type of moisturizer left on your hair. Now, here's the additional step that you may want to do with higher porosity hair is you want to put an oil over top of the moisturizer to help create a barrier between your hair and the environment, to help your hair hold on to the moisture that you just gave it from going through your wash day. And so this is one additional step that is recommended that you add to help your hair hold on to that moisture. Now, you also want to, if it's high heat, direct heat, that is causing your hair to become more of a high porosity environment, you want to back off the high heat. You want to reduce the amount of times you're doing heat styling. If it is chemicals that you're using, because maybe you like changing the color of your hair. And so I'm speaking more for permanent types of dyes, not the temporary rinses and the type things of that nature. But as far as the color, you want to step back on how often, the frequency, or maybe even the lightness. So the levels that may need to take place as far as when you're having your hair color changed. So step back on doing that as well. If it is tight styling, if it's the glued in hairstyles, whatever you are doing in your hair type routine, you want to reduce the harshness on your hair while you're taking care of it, while you're doing your deep conditioners. And with higher porosity hair, you could really deep condition almost once a week, at least once a week. If not once a week, maybe 3 times a month. You really want to get that deep condition in. You also want to do a pre-shampoo treatment where you have some type of treatment on your hair before you even start the shampoo process. Put a clear plastic, a clear plastic cap over your hair to protect it, and then sit. You may even want to steam it in. You may want to use a gentle bonnet dryer over it, with the plastic cap on it, to really help that pre-shampoo treatment to have an effect, and then go through your normal shampoo process. But again, to make to help your hair go from higher porosity to more of a normal porosity, it can be done. It does take some effort. It does require some changes that you do in your hair care routine. But again, it's manageable. It is something that you can do and you should do, because moisture is the life of your hair. And if your hair is simply not able to hold on to the moisture you're trying to give it, then you're going to struggle to retain length and to grow the length or to regrow the hair. Maybe you've got some thinning areas. And so making these types of changes can be helpful for regrowing hair as well. If this content has been helpful for you, please drop a comment below and always subscribe and check that bell so that you know every time I drop some new content. Got questions? Drop them below. Thanks.